if you overlay the data, if you're working out of the MLS and you overlay the data of the last 20 years, you will see a consistent trend, whether you're in that vacation market or, in a market that's more driven by, families and schools, of when the inventory comes on every single year in your market, when the majority of the sales happen in your market. And the national trend obviously is that this is the time of year between now and, middle of May that you're going to see, the biggest burst of under contracts. It's going to be these next 45 to 60 days for sure nationally. But you may be, to Lisa's point, in a market where it's completely different just because it's a vacation market and you're going to want more inventory in the winter leading into, like a Florida market. You're going to want more inventory coming in December, January 1st, when everybody's coming down, which is January, February, and March. You're going to want that inventory up front. And so you're going to have a trend that's localized to you. What's interesting though, Tom, we did find that number here. So last year's the seasonal inventory bottom was actually on March 4th nationally. So it was much earlier last year.
Yep.
Okay, you did say, okay, it was April 9th on 2021. And so we're behind certainly last year's bottom. We thought we might have saw the bottom a couple weeks ago, and then it went back the other direction. April 9th feels to me like right now, right? I mean, that would be next week saying that we hit the bottom this week before the holiday weekend.
Yeah, and that could be what a lot of people are anticipating. And, the other factor, too, is, I mean, you look historically, schools go so late anymore. I mean, schools don't get out till like June 18th. I mean, I don't know about, I feel like I'm dating myself here, although I know we're all the same age. I was out of school like the end of May. So it does affect moving schedules for a lot of people because, I mean, just, doing anything with children is a pain, right?
Florida, it's the end of May still.
Okay, well, there you go. But it's not up here, and so I can only speak to the market we sell in. So there's these other factors here, and the other thing to think about is that, I mean, there's been so much volatility in the market. I still there's still fear out there, and you can't dismiss that some people just don't know what to do, or you have people locked in with these 2 and 3 and 4 rates. Now they're seeing some relief. I mean, going from a 4 to a 6, if it's going to get you a bigger home, I think that's a little more of an easier sell than a 4 to a 7, right? So hopefully with some of this data coming out and interest rates coming down back to earth here since October, I mean, we were still over 7%. That wasn't even a month ago. I mean, we were at 7 1/8 a few weeks ago with rates. So they've come down substantially. So that should prompt people to maybe make a different decision here. And again, my hope is that we're going to see folks come to the market. We're going to see inventory bottom out because there's still a lot of intent in the marketplace. And there's people that are trading up and buying homes because they need to move and their motivation is that strong. And that's going to happen no matter what market you see. So, April is, I mean, this is game time in the Northeast. April, May, June. This is when you make your hay. So you got to have a really clear second quarter plan if you're a real estate agent. This is when you're going to sell the majority of your real estate. And you got to be ready to go. I mean, like, we got a holiday weekend coming up. I would just clear my calendar and be ready to work up until July 4th. If I was anyone if I was a real estate agent right now, which I am, this is go time.
Yeah. The inventory bottom is coming, whether it's this week or next week. Like, let's all be clear. It'll definitely happen here. It happens every year. There's going to be an inventory bottom and we'll start going the other direction. How high that inventory actually gets this year, I don't have much faith in that just based off of how many people are locked into 3% or lower. But have we hit the bottom on prices? So Black Knight just came out this week and home prices rose for the first time in 8 months. So February registered a 0.16% seasonally adjusted month over month national increase in prices. And it's the first we've seen in 8 months since the Fed put housing into a recession. Is this the bottom? We had a long run for many years in this country of month over month over month home price appreciation. Are we about to get on another long run, or is it going to be more like those years between 07 and 2012 where you'd have some drops for some months in price, then you'd have some gains, then you saw some drops again. You saw it kind of go back and forth for a number of years. Are we in that scenario, or are we back on, we've seen the bottom and we're back on a long run?
I'm guessing we're on a long run. I think the inventory is going to drive that, and I don't see inventory because of everything that we're talking about with the low interest rates and the volatility in there. I don't see inventory changing. And wait, I take that back. I think go back to last week when we discussed the divide between the East and the West, and I think you have to look at each market differently. I think in the
Sure.
Northeast, I think we're in for a long run because of the inventory issue. I think
Yep.
that may not be the case in some parts of the West where they've already seen decreasing prices. I think they could be in for the bumpiness of an up and down, up and down. Um, but I think in the Northeast, I think we're in for the up. And you know
Yeah,
what?
I
One of the
like.
other, oh, go.
No.
Oh, okay, fine. So the other thing I was going to say is eh, tying back into affordable housing. I think one of the things that keep smirking, I love it, that we have to watch as an industry, right, is that 10 years from now, I really think we're going to be in an affordable housing pinch. Because I think what we're going to see is all those folks in those starter homes with those 2 and 3% interest rates, they're going to add additions, they're going to finish basements and attics, they're going to over improve, and what had started as entry level affordable housing for our first time buyers is going to disappear. And I think we've got to be very, very cognizant of that as an industry, or we're going to have a big problem as a society.
Yeah, the addition game for general contractors is going to be
Hmm.
very lucrative.